Welcome, everyone. I didn't even tell Ashwin I was going to do this. Somebody call the cops. The Timberwolves are in danger.
Officer, my hands are up.
Officer. D'Lo is gone, and 35-year-old Mike Conley is here.
Younger than me.
How are we feeling about the trade, about the game tonight, about the Timberwolves' future? How do we feel?
So that's a loaded question.
Yes, it is. One word answer only. No.
I am where my feet are. To quote the great D'Lo. He said that in his press conference when he got traded.
Oh, really?
To Minnesota.
I see.
I am where my feet are. And, well, it's time to talk about the trades, to talk about the trade deadline, and it's passed. We can no longer do anything except for maybe buy some players from the buyout market. That would mean trimming some more roster spots, which we probably won't do, which means this is our roster for the rest of the season.
Yep.
We had a game tonight, and we'll talk about the game, I think, maybe, if we have time, because this could be a 10-hour show. But I think, from my standpoint, I would love to know, and this is a question to answer your question, was that enough? Did we get enough? Are we going to be enough for this year and the future? But mostly, is this going to be fun for Ant to play with? Like, is this going to be enough for Ant?
So I guess here's my thoughts on it that I'll try to keep somewhat brief. But I think for me, I'm pretty okay with the trade that happened. You know,
the trade's fine.
Yeah, I mean, like, it makes sense to me, and like contract wise, like we probably weren't going to re-sign D'Lo, and if we were, that's just a whole other conversation to be had. Because, like, sure, he was great for the last month for us, but where was he all these other times? We had random performances in, like, that 76ers game in Philadelphia, which was fun. He hit, like, that one big three, and, like, he played well in the play-in game last year. But, like, in between, it was just a lot of, like, inconsistency. And there was that time last season where he was gone for literally 20 games. We were making memes about him being missing, And then he said, like, I forgot how to play basketball, So are you going to re-sign that player? Probably not. And especially to the amount that he probably wants, which is probably about the same amount of money that he makes now. So, I'm fine with the trade. It makes sense to me. Mike Conley, I mean, if we're going to get down to the numbers element of it, like, he's not guaranteed his full contract next year. It's like partially guaranteed or something like that. So that's even better. And then you get Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who's like a rookie contract, and who knows, upside, I guess. But I've heard that he's been having like a bad season. So regardless, it doesn't really matter to me. We got some second round picks. But does this change the season for us? I don't know.
I think it changes the season for us, but in which direction?
Yeah.
It's tough to say.
I don't know. Just because, like, there were things for it's really impossible and really pointless to, like, analyze the game tonight for so many reasons, but mainly because, like, if we're going to look at the team going forward, we're going to think about Mike Conley and his fit with Gobert, which there was no signs of tonight. Not that matters. It's just one game, but yeah, I just, like, there's things about him that I like because I feel like he's going to be a lot more consistent. Now, are we expecting him to have the D'Lo games where he goes off for 30? Absolutely not. But, like, can he hit a couple threes for us in a couple games? Maybe, Can he maybe have a little bit more of, like, a floater lob game with Gobert? Maybe. But how far does that get you? The thing that I found myself thinking during tonight's game, which I should not be judging tonight, is, man, maybe we do need Cat back.
Yeah, we need Cat back in the worst way, and they were sugarcoating the fact that, oh yeah, we made this monster trade and everything, but guess what? They have to watch out for us because we're about to get Cat back, right? Mm-hmm. So all these other teams made moves, but we're making a move with getting Cat healthy. So watch out. And also that's an insanely dank Kool-Aid that they gave us. That isn't going to make our team like 10 games above 500. Sorry, it's not. We have seen for like 18, 20 games that Gobert and Towns have a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
To be anywhere on the same page. And we had Vando cat issues last year, and Vando never asked for the ball. Right?
Yeah.
We're gonna have issues. And Gone is a offensive threat in D'Lo. And I will like to say that I kind of enjoyed my time with D'Lo in a Wolves uniform. It was interesting to also scapegoat him at points, being like he's the reason why. And then development happened where we saw some of our younger guys shine, and D'Lo was kind of like a proud papa of those guys. That kind of I vibed with that group and that kind of that mentality. There's a lot of me first stuff that we saw on the court. There was a lot of apparently baggage back at home with him, kind of dogging on Gobert, and kind of brings like Jimmy Butler vibes when Butler was basically calling out our players to one Miss Nichols, Miss Quarters. But we traded for Gobert for a reason, and that was to fix maybe potential issues that we saw in last playoff series.
Yeah.
We traded for Gobert to kind of pigeon Cat into a very serious role where when the NBA is getting younger and more flexible, we're not. And putting Cat in a position where he has to guard the fours and maybe even the threes on rotation and just be more exposed, I think, in the things that he's not great at. So we then doubled down on our move when we could have made the move in the beginning of the season to trade D'Lo. So what was in my head, while I was watching the game, why didn't we trade for Conley in the beginning of the season?
Yeah.
That like in the offseason, like we had that deal already like talked about. Apparently the rumors were there. Westbrook to Utah, Conley to Minnesota, D'Lo to LA. That was already talked about.
Yeah, that was like probably out of the Timberwolves trades, like one of the most like mocked trade, not mocked as in like made fun of, but like people made that mock trade a trillion times just because it's like it makes sense if you're trying to move D'Lo.
And nothing happened except for Bryn Forbes got waived, got signed, then made 2 threes, then got waived, and a first pick went to Utah. Like that's the only difference in that trade. So it was kind of silly. That would mean we would have had a full year of whatever the Conley the fuck would have done for us.
Yep.
With growth with Gobert, we would have seen a little bit more of Gobert clicking as opposed to bringing in negative energy that he and D'Lo had. That sucks to hear that D'Lo was kind of bagging on Gobert and everything, but he's not wrong. Gobert has butterfinger fingers, cannot do anything offensively. You have to literally throw it where anyone else cannot catch it for Gobert to be effective. It's a strange little mix of players now we have. We have old, aging veterans. They're going to be in senior homes. And we're going to have this new, young talent that's coming into their own. And I'm saying new, but they're not. But like Ant, now first-time All-Star. And then we have Cat, who's like, I've been here, I've done it. I want to be talked about as the goat of all goats. Right, but he's kind of a goat on our team. Like he's just like a goat, and not the greatest. I'm just saying, like we have a mix of philosophies. We have a mix of talent. We have a mix of age ranges. I don't know what the fuck we're doing in now a very competitive, exceptionally competitive West, where the 13th seed, the 14th seed are probably better than us right now.
Yeah, I mean that's a fair argument. I mean. Like, I was actively rooting for the Lakers to lose the other night, just last night, because I was like, at this point, we probably need these teams to be losing every possible game because clearly, like, obviously, Ant is performing well and he wants to win. But, like, as we know, especially in this West, one player is not going to take you anywhere. You need to have several. And, I guess at this point, we just kind of have to rely on other teams to lose and hope that we can like squeak out wins in random games. But
yeah, that's a weird, bad, I think a very bad place to be.
Yeah. I mean, that's not where you wanted to be. And the other thing that I was considering during the game is that it's like, you were talking about it in the Discord. Shout out the Discord. Like Gobert just looks awful, and it's not like there's not. It's I don't even think it's so much of like we're not using him right or whatever. We are giving him ample opportunities to get buckets. He's getting the ball so much. Like the first quarter, again, we're trying to force feed him the ball. It's just I don't understand it, and that is really frustrating to me. But man, I don't know. It's going to be the weirdest end of the season because these, like you said, through like the 13th team, they all have a legitimate chance to not only be in the play-in, but they could be like the 4 seed because the difference between like the 4 and 5 seed and the 13th seed is like 2 or 3 games. Like it is very little room. So I don't know. I guess I'm looking forward to the All-Star break, but at the same time, it's like now Ant's going to play on the All-Star break. So he's not going to get as much of a rest. But
right. Damn. I'm thinking about this, and Gerald just said something that made me even like solidify this thought. We were forcing it to Gobert in the first quarter, and we're like, damn it, we got to stop doing this. That's like a 1990s philosophy, honestly. You got to get your guards going to get the paint open up for then the guard, and then the paint can get exposed by Gobert. That's my philosophy. Anyways. Conley, his role is going to be get Gobert going, and Tim Connolly, who got Conley, is going to be like get Gobert going.
Yeah,
and Conley and Gobert are going to be on the same like kind of timestamps for a game where they're not going to come in whenever the other player is not in. Right, I think they're going to be in the same time, which means slower basketball, which means a pace that isn't aligned with the Ants and even the Noels of the league, and on our team rather. And like, where does Cat fit in all this? Like, is Cat going to get his opportunities elsewhere? Like when Gobert is sitting, but then where's Ant's going to get his touches? We're going to be forcing it with Gobert for the rest of the season to validate and also promote his presence. Because if we don't, what do we have? Why do we have them?
Yeah,
like if we don't, why do we have them? Are they going to be okay getting 0 touches?
Yeah, this is just the Gobert element of this is just so frustrating to me because, like, after we lost to Memphis in the playoffs last year, it was like, what do we need more of? We need rebounding, and we need to stop Brandon Clark. And
what did we see tonight?
Yeah, nothing. We saw none of those things be fixed, and Gobert was in the game. That's just killer. And you can make all the argument. Like, those were the correct holes to fill. Like, you wanted to get more rebounding and to be able to stop these Brandon Clark type players, not just Brandon Clark, from getting these offensive rebounds and putbacks. And all this season, that's all we've seen is offensive rebounds and putbacks and butterfingers, like you said, from Gobert. It's just like, it's crazy. I'm not even sure that one pass that he made tonight was 100% on purpose. Like, I think that was I think that was like half on purpose and half like, whoops, I lost it. But he played it off well.
So maybe we're overreacting, but I think, in part we kind of have to, because we've seen 0 sample size of this working. And we can just kind of pontificate about the future. And the future is looking like it matters more than any other season, because in the competition of the West, we are 1 game above 500. 1 game above 500 is probably the 12th seed. So, and we have to start looking at how this is going to impact other players. The Kyle Andersons are going to come off the bench now when Cat comes back. The Jaden McDaniels might get less touches now. And like, that's probably fine. That's probably okay, and they're probably okay with it. But like, I think this is going to take time, and we're going to need to see in-game action because, Gobert and Conley are going to have to reestablish themselves, and at the expense of identity. And I thought we finally found something somewhere in January, somewhere after the holidays, where it was just Ant and D'Lo kind of vibing off each other and who's hot and who's not, right? That took that much time to get that identity. I don't know, man. Gobert's in and out of the lineup. Conley might be the same. Like I don't remember Conley playing versus the Jazz. But I'm not trying to be a downer, but I'm definitely just like critical of like how we traded, where we traded the player to, why do we trade it now as opposed to the beginning of the season? And
yeah,
go ahead. Sorry,
I just agree with that point. It's something that I didn't think about until you said it tonight, but I was thinking about it early in the season. It's like why is D'Lo still on the team if he's on an expiring contract? Like there were moves to be made this offseason, whether it was for Mike Conley or somebody else. Like why would we not do that, and why would we wait until this? It's almost kind of a miracle that we got any amount of value back for him at the trade deadline, because sure, he was playing well, but I can't remember who said it. I think Solidus T in their argument with like Gerald right now is like I watched Lakers aren't going to keep D'Lo after this season. I can almost guarantee they don't. Like even if he plays well, what are they going to do? They're going to re-sign D'Lo? Like I don't know. If he plays well, he's going to want a lot of money again, and the Lakers don't have that money to give. So, and they're certainly not going to put it on a player like D'Lo. Like D'Lo would have to have like a Steph Curry like end of the season or something. Like I don't even know, but
but that might be more enjoyable and or predictable than whatever Conley's going to give us. Like
yeah.
Like let's be a little bit positive though. What is Conley giving us? He's giving us kind of like a steady hand. He's giving us the 10 and 10 on a pretty nightly basis, I would say.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. I think after like 10 games of the season into our new season, he'll figure that out. He's not going to be a ball hog.
No, yeah.
He's going to be actively looking for other players. But does that hurt us?
Yeah. As for basketball plays like happening soon, yeah, probably. Because we're losing a scorer in D'Lo, even though D'Lo was inconsistent. Like he still was able to score on a decent rate, even on bad nights sometimes. So the one thing that is, and to be positive on my end, to finally be positive, and I know they were talking about this at broadcast. It's kind of like cliche, I guess, to even say this, but he's a veteran. He's coming in with a lot of experience. He's been a really good locker room guy through the Memphis days, through the Utah days,
for sure.
And like immediately, him and Carl are on the bench talking together. And I don't want to have too much faith in like changing Carl's mindset and like getting him to convert into more of the player that I'd like him to be. But he's getting all this time to absorb things on the bench while he's been injured. And I think Mike Conley's a good guy to absorb that information from. He's an outsider. Like D'Lo was his friend. Like he's not gonna like the feedback is different from friend to friend, whether it's in that situation. So I think that could be good for him. I think it's going to be good for Ant to have Conley around, even if he isn't being the scorer or the player that D'Lo was. I do think that there are good elements of this, especially off the court. And that's not to say that he's not going to be good on the court. I do think there's a possibility that this Gobert and Conley thing works way better than D'Lo and Gobert did.
That didn't work out at all.
Yeah, it didn't work out at all. And they were even like, there was that, I don't know if you saw it, but there was that replay of where Gobert like shoved D'Lo out of bounds in a game earlier this year to get the inbounds.
Wow.
Like there was definitely beef, and like it's arguable who was right or wrong. It's probably D'Lo right, but at the same time, like
D'Lo's right, yeah.
But like nobody's right in these situations when stuff like that happens. So
yeah, right.
But yeah, I see positives. I have still, even with how negative I started the show, I still just have this weird optimism about the season. I'm not saying we're going to the finals or anything like that, but like I just have this good feeling that once we get into post All-Star break, maybe once we get Cat back, there's just going to be a lot to play for. And every game will feel so consequential. And like, that's the thing you've heard it with Ant. You've heard it with other young players in the league. They just care about playing big games. They don't really care about the regular season at all. It's like the rivals that they care about, certain arenas that they care about, but there's a lot of games that they just don't care. And Ant, what has he said over and over again through not getting into the All-Star originally and through the beginning of the season? And about like individual things. He's like, I don't care as long as we make it to the playoffs. And then when he was in, I don't remember if it was the Austin Rivers interview or the GQ interview, where he was just like talking about how he's like, man, the playoffs was just different, and I just had so much fun in the playoffs.
Yeah, I love that. That conversation was so good.
It was crazy. Yeah,
I believe that was the Austin Rivers.
I think it was too. I just didn't want to be wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that was fascinating to me, and I think super insightful to see how Ant cares and thinks going into games. So I don't know. I still feel hope, and I think that with Ant is just a special player. That another interesting thing. This is totally. I should not be even making this comment. It's kind of like making fun of Towns and others, but the Fast Bake Foundation or whatever.
Oh my god, that was so good.
So
the valuation,
the valuations. So it's Ant at like 5,000 plus or something like that, and then Rudy Gobert in second at 2,800 or something, and then Towns and Jaden McDaniels were like tied.
Yeah,
that's telling. I
think so too.
But yeah, I mean, like that just goes to show that this team is around Ant. Everybody knows that, but like, yeah, I'm excited to watch. I know there's people in the Discord that are a little down right now about the team, not looking forward to like the games, and fair. It's very fair to feel like that right now. We just did like a weird mediocre trade that almost does nothing for us.
Yeah.
The Rudy Gobert trade definitely has not been like anything close to what we had hoped it to be. And we gave up all of our players that really helped us get to the playoffs last year. And not only that, they're performing very well on these other teams that they're playing for.
Yeah.
And then Godfrey mentions it, by the way. Hello, Godfrey. First pre-D'Lo game. I know I saw earlier.
How does it feel, Godfrey?
Yeah, I saw you weren't too pumped about Mike Conley, but it's got to be better. But Kessler is legit too, and he's a player that we traded. And then it's like, oh man, it's just pain. So, like realistically, we could have Kessler, Vando, Beasley, Balmaro. We could have all these players, and Kessler would be doing exactly what Rudy is, if not better. So
yeah, maybe
it's pretty disappointing.
Yeah, I have so much to say to what you just said. But also what's kind of lingering in my head is the trade deadline passed and the rumors were floating for a Bones Island for maybe trade Oz, which, I'm kind of glad we still have now. It's just like, I just want to say that out loud. And even Jalen Noel, like get his value up and push it out the door and get something. And here we are still with that flamethrower, the Shabazz himself. And, it's a little hard to watch sometimes, Jalen Noel out there. It's hard to watch Luka Garza and Naz Reid out there, but getting garbage time now, as opposed to when Gobert was out, they would feel like they were very impactful and they had a lot of meaning in the minutes that they played. Now they're just kind of filler for Gobert. And we have different philosophies when Gobert's in and when they're out. We have like three defensive styles. We have the zone, we have the hedge where we play our big up, and then we have the protect the paint where the big is back, like literally 3 seconds every possession. He's like sitting there just grinding the rim. And another thought is I wasn't expecting to do this, but I'm going to be watching a lot of Utah Jazz footage to see how they use Bojan and how they use the pick and roll to success for Bojan, because that's Cat's role now. He's going to be the 3-point shooter who's going to be running and spacing. And very similarly, they had Donovan, we have Ant, they had Royce O'Neal, we had Jaden, and Gobert and Conley are the same players, just older. It's just going to be very interesting to see how we utilize their schemes and systems to the best of their ability, like to highlight and bring up the best of their abilities, but then also kind of play our style, which was, last year was pretty exciting.
Yeah. We
played a different style of basketball than we are now, and we're playing slower, more methodical, but a little bit without pace and reason. It's more like Ant should pass the ball more, but Ant's the only one who's getting it going. And Ant's the only one who matters on our team, So I don't want Ant to be passing as much as maybe we needed to. And when Noel comes out, it's like there's no passing at all, right? So at least D'Lo was doing a little bit of that. When Conley gets, more acquainted, I'm hoping. And it feels like the pecking order is actually better now with D'Lo gone.
Yeah.
And I hope like Conley like figures it out and helps us feel like we have a better floor than we did this beginning of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm just like excited. I'm a little nervous. I'm looking up at the standings, and I don't want to be doing standings watch when we could have won all those games and had a little bit more of a cushion.
Yeah.
And I don't know if like Conley Gobert is the duo that we need, and we didn't really clean up our bench. Like we have a lot of pieces that we need to still kind of figure out what we want from them.
Yeah.
So did we accomplish what we wanted out of the trade deadline? Like I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, no, I mean, I feel like no. The other thing I was thinking about, you mentioned Jalen Noel, like the trade possibilities, is that it's like, Jalen is not, he's just not really like the shooter type player that we want. We want shooters. Like, don't get me wrong. We need 3-point shooters so that Ant can kick out and just open up the floor for everybody, Mm-hmm. But he's a lot more of like this is probably a comp that you're not going to agree with. And I'm not even going to say a player, but obviously I'm pretty down on Jalen Noel right now, even though he had 2 really good games. Tonight was honestly not that bad of a game. But Gerald, shut up.
So he's so funny.
But he's kind of like in 2K, you have player builds. He is like the player build that's meant to be like the superstar of a team. But he's no, Jalen Noel. But he's like the lowest tier possible of that. Because he's trying to do the driving. He's trying to hit threes. He's like working the ball up. He's he's trying to do all this stuff. And, he's not just a pure shooter. Like, sure, he can shoot, but we are almost never are we like kicking it out to Jalen Noel and he's hitting a spot up 3. He is like maneuvering, trying to like be the offense. And that's what we need Ant to be. And Ant needs to have players to kick out to. We need more of like I don't even know. Like, I don't want this player, but like the Danny Green type player that you just like kick it out to and they just shoot at the second they get it. Not the player that wants to go do everything. He's kind of got this like, not as severe as Cat was, but like this, like I need to use every tool in my tool bag and like score. I need to get these layups. I need to dunk. I need to hit threes. He just needs to shoot. He just needs to be a good shooter for us. And he's instead like this kind of like takeover player.
Yeah.
It's like the D'Lo. It's kind of like the bad effects of D'Lo at times. Because D'Lo's shots, when like he would take and miss them, they were killers. They weren't a part of the flow of the offense. Like, sure, if it went in, it was like dagger. It killed the other team. But like if he misses, it's momentum and so much juice for the other team. And that is Jalen Noel's misses. And it's not just like a kick out for 3 miss. Oh, okay. Well, we're decently back on defense. He's just sprint dribbling up the floor. And like, it's just, I don't know. It's just mayhem to me. And I feel like he's somebody that you could have traded. Maybe you pair him with Nas. Like you said, I'm glad we have Nas. I think I'm very glad going forward that we have Nas in case of the break glass for emergency situation that you trade Towns. Because if you you trade Towns, or if you need to trade Nas and somebody else to get somebody. But
it's like Nas's value is only going up.
Yeah.
And any contract that he's going to get, it's going to be mostly friendly. So it's going to be a very like sought after asset, I think. So Nas still being on the team, I think is kind of fine. And also Garza is kind of being matured and groomed into a role that we'll like. I think we will like. I
agree. I think Garza looks good and needs more. Like he came into the game late tonight and I was like, where has he been all game?
Where's he been?
I would rather have him in
like
there.
That's so great.
I'm like, please.
Yeah. Man. I'm trying to be positive here. But like when you're down 20 and I'm seeing Rudy Gobert out there and like even though it's a game after the trade deadline, so we're missing some pieces, it's like what does Gobert bring in, When you see the game start and we're like quickly in an 11-point hole, like what does Gobert bring in, right? So I love the Naz Reids and Luka Garzas that are just spacers on the court that give a lot of effort, and they're trying to prove themselves because they're trying to get their next contract. Gobert's sitting pretty. No matter what and how he plays, he's getting $40 million, right? So like these guys are playing harder, I feel, than Gobert just to get more playing time, but also getting a next contract, right? So like their livelihood is on the line. So I love the hunger from these guys, and they also space the fucking floor. So then the players like Noel and Ant can operate a lot better. I also just strongly feel that we need more 3-point shooting.
Yep.
And I know that Cat will bring some of it,
but
like I don't want Cat. I don't want Shat like a Shat. I don't want Shy Cat. I don't want Cat who's passive. I want Cat who's shooting 20 times a game and 11 of them are threes.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yep.
And I hope that that's what he's watching and observing and realizing what we need. And I hope we see a very mature Cat when we come back. Oh no, I missed commentary.
Just Godfrey. I watched the game with detached bemusement.
Sorry we haven't been working with the commentary from you all, but I hope that you guys are having a good time chatting around.
It looks like everybody's having a fantastic time chatting in the chat.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense. Go ahead.
Yeah. I just want the next 5 games to show me something, because it could also definitely show me nothing. And I'm more worried than I want to be after the trade deadline, where I actually got I woke up and I chose to be positive. I woke up this morning / afternoon / evening, and I chose to be excited about this trade, especially when I saw that Conley's going to start tonight or play.
Yeah, I was super excited to see him start. Yeah. Now, the other thing that we have to keep in mind, I know we've been down about tonight, and we're trying to not judge it solely off tonight. We're trying to be a little bit more forward-looking rather than just tonight, which is why we're not even doing the tier list. We're just talking about the trade and in general. We did play the Memphis Grizzlies, who are one of the top teams in the West. And they're healthy, other than Steven Adams, which doesn't really matter to us right now.
It doesn't faze them at all.
Yeah. So this was a good team. We've played well against the Grizzlies in the past, but I guess you could also say we were due to have a really bad game finally against them. But I think, to your point, something that we've kind of done over the last, month or two, when we've been doing shows, is looking at the next 5 or 6 games and saying, like, okay, what's an acceptable win-loss record for the next few games? Now, we only have 2 games left until the All-Star break.
Oh, really?
Yep. So we play on Monday at Dallas with Kyrie and Luka. So that sucks. And then we play at home against the Wizards, which could also suck. But
okay, so only 2 games before the All-Star break?
Yep, only 2 games. So I guess in those 2 games, it would be, we have Saturday and Sunday off. So hopefully we have a little bit of time to get some cohesion and just get a little bit of something going. Like, obviously Mike Conley's got to catch up to everything throughout the season, which is going to take weeks, but maybe even the whole year. But maybe he's a vet, he can pick it up quick. I'd say if you can win one of these 2 games before the All-Star break, you've survived. If you lose both of them, it's not like the end of the world, because you're most certainly underdogs in the Mavs game. And then at home against the Wizards, you're probably pretty close to even. The Wizards, for some reason, just beat us. I feel like they play well against us. And then Kyle Kuzma just goes nuts on us for some reason. But after that, this is deep. I'd say after the All-Star break, we need to be, again, at least a 500 team. If we're 3-3 to start after the All-Star break, we play the Hornets at home, the Warriors away, the Clippers away, the Lakers away.
Oh no, that is
the Kings away.
That's all losses.
And the 76ers at home.
At home, those are all losses.
We might lose 6 games straight coming out of the All-Star break.
Yeah, that does not find. That is not a good schedule.
That makes my statement even truer.
Yeah.
If we are 500, if we're 3-3 after the All-Star game, I'm on cloud 9, fully on board this team, because then we probably have a real chance. But the rest of March sucks too. We have just so many good teams to go up against. It's bad. We have one of the stronger strength of schedules, or whatever.
Remaining.
Yeah, it's like not good.
Well, send help, SOS.
Maybe we can make some trades. No.
By the way, can we just say, like, I want to say on record, what the hell at this potential praise of how am I trying to say this without actually calling him out? Where we were promoting the fact that maybe Patrick Beverley was going to come back on our team, and all the sources were like kind of pushing that this is going to happen. This is going to happen. It's not happening.
All one of the sources.
Yeah, and I was losing my shit because if Beverley was back, I don't know. I would feel like I would be back, like in a totally different sense. Like I would be a maniac. I would just be a maniac for this team because Beverley like really brought me in, like in the team. Like and is there, but like Beverley and his leadership on the court, you can see it, like his energy. And we don't have any of that. We don't have any identity players. Like we don't have anyone who has any sort of like presence to push someone. Like we have Gobert touching his face and asking for the ball. Like that's his identity, right? I don't know, man. Like,
yeah, I'd love to talk about Bev for a second because I also saw that same source, DM, say that it was in the works, and then very quickly after, a very much more reliable source in I think Mark Stein came out and said it will not be happening. Now we're not like. Nothing's official, and anything can happen, but I'm totally with you. If Beverley were to get re-signed, imagine this is so annoying, and Maddie, close your ears so you don't hear this. I was planning to buy plane tickets home to Minneapolis to go to the first game that Bev would be back at.
Oh, wow.
I was like, imagine Target Center. People are going to go to that game. Everyone's going to be wearing their I Love Pat Bev shirts. Yeah. Like, it's going to be insane. They're going to announce him. He's going to come off the bench, obviously. And it's going to be like the crowd goes crazy. The energy is insane. I was like ready for it. And then he immediately gets shot down. That was the highest moment where I've been like, okay, we need to get Connolly out of here. Like, if he's against getting Pat Bev. Now, the only thing I will say in their defense is you have to cut another player to have that happen. So that means that Nate Knight will have to go, which probably makes the most sense at this moment, because like Nate Knight has not played well lately. Luka Garza has played amazing lately. Nas, obviously, you're not cutting Nas. You're going to sign Nas to like a $10 million contract. Like who else on the team? They got rid of Bryn Forbes already, so you can't get rid of Bryn Forbes, who would have been candidate number one. Like who? I
believe as sad as this is to say, but like Luka Garza is on a 2-way.
Yep.
He has like a max of like 50 games, and he's already he's closing in on it. So
is he? I didn't know how close he was. He has played a few games though. Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, I'm eating a mint while we're talking, but
that's okay. Yeah, I don't know. I'll be like, that will get me super pumped if we can somehow get Pat Bev back.
The schedule is scary.
The
schedule is scary.
Yeah,
and I'm really trying to I'm trying not to look at it, but like
it's crazy.
I don't see another win. No, I'm just kidding. I do feel like certain teams made these moves and they're going to look like they're going to have to find themselves too. Like, but I feel like a player like Kyrie can just kind of win games on his own.
He did the first night he played for him. Yeah.
A player like Kevin Durant is when he gets back and healthy and everything, is just going to win games on their own. Like they have a big hail decline, but they're also like in the mix already, as opposed to the Lakers, who are basically like the Minneapolis Lakers now, like Minnesota.
They
Lakers.
Really are. Yeah.
And they Vando's going to be funny, but like it's going to be awesome to watch. But like he's going to be a scapegoat. Like and Beasley's going to miss a bunch of shots. D'Lo's going to be target number one. Like. Why did that not go in? He's going to be like the J.R. Smith of the Cleveland days, right?
Yeah, I think D'Lo has some serious pressure, whether he knows it or not. Like, it's going to be crazy for him.
Yeah, but they're going to win games. Like, now that they have 3-point shooting, they're going to win some games. And so
their roster, I mean, without Russ on there and adding those three players,
looks much better.
It's like insanely better. Like, I'm not trying to say that this team is like a finals team, but like, this gives them an opportunity to make a real opportunity to make the playoffs and go deep in the playoffs because you still got LeBron, you still got AD, who I don't believe in at all. But like, you've got these high caliber players that can make differences. So they go from me not being worried about them at all to being like, yeah, they have a real chance to finish above us in the standings.
Yeah. I want to say a couple things real quick. I am not watching or reading a lot of the commentary. I will say that slow down a little bit. Like go outside, take a breath of air. If you are this passionate about our team, that's amazing. But like, don't knock other people down as well. And we're all here to try to be fans of this team together. Mm-hmm. And I hate when men just shout at each other about things that like we have no say or no control over anything. So say our piece without getting into a shouting match about it. But that's awesome. Like our team is this volatile that we can have this type of commentary. So fuck yeah.
Yeah, I know.
But we haven't been the biggest fans of Cat on this show. But I can't wait for him to come back and show us what we've been missing and what we've been wanting, but we didn't know that we had, So there were some pieces that felt like Kool-Aid from Jim Peterson, but it actually is it's very true.
Yeah. Yep.
We get someone who's an all-star player, former all-star, could be this like greatest shooter of all time kind of thing, but we need it and we need to see it and we can't wait for it. That's gonna have to come and run with it. And I definitely do think that the ball's going to be in the right player's hands when he comes back. It's going to be in Ant's hands. It's going to be in Conley's hands. He's going to make good decisions with the ball. He's going to want to find Cat, and that's great because it was always really hard to find Cat in the ball in the offense without him being an ISO-like player. And I think Conley can really help, discover new ways to get Cat the ball. And I think as long as the disruption and the bad juju, the bad energy in the locker room is gone, that's going to maybe make us play for each other better.
Yeah.
The way that Gobert feels a little bit more loved now, like we gave him what he needed, which was a Conley and not a D'Lo, I just hope this matures into something positive. Because we don't think we have time to waste.
Yeah.
Because we're only wasting Ant's years if we don't do anything.
Yeah. We need to figure it out quick. But the schedule, I can't get over it. I have it pulled up here and I can't stop looking at it. Like legitimately, if I'm going to speed run the end of this month into the end of March, how many games do I feel decent about winning? 1, 2.
Is that no, not even the Wizards?
3. I'm not even counting the Wizards. 3-ish.
For March? Or no, for February?
February and March. God. What other games? We play the Lakers, the Kings, 76ers. This is March. Lakers, Kings, 76ers. None of those I feel confident about. Maybe the Nets, but Cam Thomas is going nuts. So, who knows? But maybe we win against them. We probably should win against them. And then they're going to have Mikal Bridges, though. So I don't feel comfortable with them. They're going to dominate us.
Oh, my God.
The Hawks, I don't know. The Hawks are kind of all over the place. So I guess maybe.
Hawks kind of feel like us in a way.
Yep. Yeah, it's kind of weird. They've really fallen off. But then the Celtics, they're not going to have Jaylen Brown, it looks like, but still, the Celtics. The only game that I feel actually somewhat confident about is the Bulls, but Zach LaVine could drop a 40 bomb on us at any moment. The Raptors, maybe. I don't know.
They didn't make any moves.
No, yeah. The Knicks, no. The Hawks again. Golden State, Kings, Suns, Lakers. That's March.
Yeah.
We have to seriously overperform or hope that Cat comes back and it just instantly clicks and makes us exactly what Tim Conley has had in mind this whole time. Which is not going to happen, obviously. But,
Yeah, so let's just pretend that we go 500 during that entire stretch. That's all of March. Is that what you just said?
That's all of March.
We're not. That's the hardest schedule I've heard.
If we stay 500, that's an unbelievable win. That is insane.
What did we end up the season last year? 47 wins?
40. We had 46 and 36 was our record.
That's good. that probably isn't happening this year. And what's crazy is I guess Vegas was right this whole time.
Vegas was right, and you know who else was right the first time they did?
Yeah. Cam Thomas.
I was right. I have to look back at that recording where the audio wasn't working because I need to see what my final record was because it was not good.
No, it was like 42.
It was really, I think it was like 42 and 40 or something like that. It's such pain.
Yeah.
Man. And that was assuming that Gobert was going to be good. Gosh.
Gobert is dead man walking, in my opinion. And we have to figure it out. And that is just layman terms. Like, we got to figure it out. But, like, we have to give him oops. We have to give him opportunities to feel like he's part of the flow of the offense, because that has to happen for then people to play that, to defend that, you know? Otherwise, Conley's mid-range isn't open. Otherwise, you know, Jaden will be sagged off of, you know, because no one can expect him to make those threes. It's going to be very exciting when Cat comes back. I'm going to be, you know, praising this team for all the little things, but I'm going to try to step back from all the criticism because it's not helping me as a fan.
Yeah.
And it's also kind of degrading like the process of like what it is to build a team and what it is to build a championship level team. We decided to trust in Conley, Tim Conley, and this is what he's decided to do. And I think it is not the right approach, but what I think doesn't matter.
Well, and you know, just because, like, I agree with you, but like, just because it's not the way you want it to be done doesn't mean that it can't be done. You know, it can be done in a gross way, which appears to hopefully be happening. But like, you know, it can happen a different way, but like you and I obviously just have different thought process on it. So, and a lot of fans do, clearly, from the chat tonight, but
yeah. And, you know, I will agree with a lot of what's being said.
I know. Yeah.
Ant has a long ways to go to be anything. He's an all-star now, but he was a, you know, replacement all-star, which is kind of how D'Lo got to be an all-star. That's kind of how like Cat kind of became an all-star as well, to a different degree. But we need more from every single player, and that's hard. That's hard to buy into a current philosophy of a franchise that says we are going to submerge ourselves in debt. You know, like putting ourselves with Gobert and Conley, and like that's not trusting the other players. It's trusting an older, former system that says that you guys couldn't get it done. Here, we're bringing in a brand new philosophy in. It's pretty crazy. And I just hope that, you know, like D'Lo really matured in his time here. I thought, I really hope, and I haven't seen it to this day. But I hope that Cat becomes something like that, where he matures into something. That his role is not be a superstar, but his role is be a superstar in that role. So, because then that lets the chains off of Ant to have the freedom to play the way that we feel like he needs to play. Well, this game was a dud tonight. This game was an absolute dud. I usually love doing this with you, but like a tier list or something. We don't need to talk about this night tonight.
No.
It was cool to see Conley out there. He didn't do anything, but it was cool to see him out there. I think there's a pace that he's going to be playing at, which I'm not excited for. I think it's going to be slower than I want, but we're going to try to have to push pace some other way. And I'm not going to like what I'm going to see in that. Like, we're going to have Noel running the ball. Right? You know, we're going to have Ant coughing up turnovers here and there. Like, to try to offset the pace that we're playing with Gobert and Conley. And product tonight is the Memphis Grizzlies did get better. They didn't have to show their players, their new players. I think they got Kennard or something. That's insane. And they're just that much better than a team than they were against us last year. And
wait, they got Kennard?
They got Kennard, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think they got Kennard.
Okay.
Well, I
have no clue. I didn't. I saw that Kennard was moved, but I legit have zero clue where.
Shoot,
I just didn't
I'm sorry.
think it was Memphis.
Yeah, I think it is.
Okay.
And that's great for them. And I'm worried because every team in the West that we're up against is better. I don't think a single team other than the Jazz got worse.
No. Well, Houston should be. Yeah.
But they do trades?
Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, never mind.
Oh, and I guess the Golden State Warriors, if they don't get Gary Payton.
Yeah, that's true.
They kind of got worse.
He's going to be out for a while.
Which is so funny because every fucking player, every media player, every media man or whatever they were saying, why don't you pick James Wiseman? Well, that's why.
And now, exactly. He's done. Some positivity to close out the night.
Ooh.
Conley, after the game tonight, Mike Conley, not Tim Conley.
Yeah, I hate. We're gonna have to stop doing that soon.
I hate that their name. We have to come up with a different nickname or something. But Conley said he's excited by the move. Quote: "This team hasn't reached the potential that is out there, and that is an exciting thing. Coming in here and being a part of that, and hopefully helping that develop really quickly and allowing us to get to the playoffs and make a run at it." Generic statement from generic Timberwolves player. But it's positive. Also prepare yourself, Timberwolves fans. The Lakers play the Warriors tomorrow night. And you should fully expect Beasley, Vanderbilt, and especially D'Lo to have incredible games. So a little bit more pain is yet to come in this week. But now you know about it, so you can be prepared for it. It won't come as a shock. But I think that's it for me. I don't know when I'll be available again. Honestly, I don't even know if I'll be available again before. Actually, no, I'm not available on Monday. I'm not even in Seattle. And then I'm going to be in Portland.
Whoa.
And there's no games. I'm just going to Portland.
Portland rocks, man. Portland's amazing.
Yeah. And the next game is not until Friday or something. So I don't know. But either way, if you're new here, subscribe to the channel. I see most of everybody here is regulars at this point. But if you're new here, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we are live. Join the Discord. Like the video if you haven't already. Pretend like we did the tier list tonight.
Everyone's an F.
Everyone was pretty much a Wancho tonight.
Yeah.
Ant maybe gets a D just because he had some pretty high effort plays, and that one steal was crazy.
That was sweet.
Yeah. But and he had a good block too. Anyways, I think that's it for us. We will see you next time. I think 52 wins is still possible, but honestly, who cares anymore? Who cares?
Yeah. 42 wins is still possible.
42 wins is still possible, and that's all that matters. And Bryn Forbes is gone. Celebrate! Everybody can be happy.
That is a positive.
That is actually the most positive thing that's happened. He can permanently.
The Beasley replacer has been replaced by hot air.
Literally nothing. Intro as the outro. We'll see you next time.